Every generation is told its war is different. That this time, it's about freedom, about security, about God, or democracy, or destiny. 800 years ago, the language was simpler. God wills it, same promise, same result. Because when leaders convince people that violence is sacred, questions disappear, and blood follows. This isn't ancient history, this is a blueprint. Every war, we are told it's a crusade, and every time, we forget what that really means. Let's go back to 11th century Europe. The system was failing, it was unstable. Too many young men, too little land, and constant, brutal, internal violence. Nobles fought nobles, peasants starved. The church was losing its grip on power. The solution wasn't to fix the system. The solution was to redirect the anger. Take all that violence, aim it outward, and wrap it in a cloak of righteousness. Does that sound familiar? It was a pressure valve, designed not to solve a problem, but to export it. A way to unite a fractured society against a common, external enemy. They didn't need peace, they needed a target, and they found one. The sales pitch was delivered by Pope Urban II. He didn't offer a military strategy or a geopolitical plan. He offered moral immunity, kill, and your sins are erased. Die, and heaven is guaranteed. This wasn't just faith, this was psychological warfare. The formula is timeless, and it works. First, dehumanize the enemy. They aren't people. They are infidels, obstacles, or threats. Second, promise honor, salvation, or a lasting legacy. Give them something more valuable than their own life. And third, remove personal responsibility. You aren't a killer, you are a tool of God or an agent of history. Once people truly believe that a higher power is on their side, anything becomes permissible. The conscience is outsourced, and where did this righteous violence first erupt? Not in Jerusalem. It happened at home, across Europe. Mobs, whipped into a frenzy of belief, massacred Jewish communities. They called it cleansing society. There were no official orders from the Pope, no formal trials. Just belief, weaponized into a permission slip for slaughter. This is a critical point we often miss. Nearly every modern extremist movement starts the same way, not with an invasion of a foreign land, but with the social permission to purify their own. It begins by targeting the other within, long before the armies march. When the Crusaders finally took Jerusalem in 1099, what happened next had no military necessity. It was a massacre. Men, women, and children were hunted through the streets. Religious buildings, sacred to Jews and Muslims, were turned into execution chambers. Eyewitness accounts from the Crusaders themselves describe wading through blood up to their ankles. But that's not the story Europe heard. Back home, the propaganda machine was in full swing. They heard about a glorious victory, about divine approval. They heard about heroes, not butchers. History doesn't just forget atrocities by accident. They are deliberately edited out, replaced with a narrative that serves the powerful. After the conquest came the challenge of governance, and it failed spectacularly. The Crusader states were run by foreign rulers with no cultural understanding, propped up by a permanent military presence. They weren't peaceful sanctuaries. They were unstable, violent occupations. Local resentment festered and grew. Revolts were inevitable. The violence escalated. And we see the same ancient pattern play out again and again. Invade in the name of virtue, stay for control, and then label all resistance as evil or terrorism. Liberation becomes occupation, and the liberators become the oppressors, all while insisting they are the good guys. Now, let's talk about Saladin. When he retook Jerusalem from the Crusaders, the world expected a bloodbath, a mirror image of the 1099 massacre. But that's not what happened. Instead, civilians were spared. Christian holy sites were protected. Prisoners were released for ransom, not slaughtered. This act of mercy and strategic restraint didn't fit the Western narrative. It was deeply uncomfortable. So, what did Western history do? For centuries, it minimized him, downplayed his actions, or painted him as a cunning stereotype. Because nothing is more dangerous to your propaganda than an enemy who behaves with more honor and humanity than you do. By the time of the Fourth Crusade, the mask came off completely. The pretense of a holy war collapsed. This army of crusaders never even reached the Holy Land. Instead, they turned their weapons on Constantinople, the largest Christian city in the world. Why? For money, to pay off political debts, and for pure power. They sacked the city, looted its churches, stole priceless relics, and brutalized its people. There was no holy objective. There was no moral justification. It was just violence, finally honest about its own greed. It was a heist disguised as a pilgrimage, proving that when the ideological excuse wears thin, the raw motives of power and profit are laid bare. The Crusades didn't end because people suddenly learned a moral lesson. They ended because they became too expensive, too difficult, and politically inconvenient. The model stopped working, and this is the final, chilling parallel for us today. The language has changed. We talk of spreading democracy or national security, but the structure has ended. We still find ways to sanctify violence. We still excuse necessary civilian deaths as collateral damage. We still build statues to the generals, not the victims. The Crusades are not some dusty, medieval failure. They are a modern warning. Whenever you are told a war is righteous, that it is necessary and good, you must ask the most important question: who truly benefits? Because God has never needed an army, men do. Thanks for watching.